You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Poehler and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.
This will be interesting. Thanks for joining. This is Alexa. I'm your host, Alexa Poehler. This is Female Filmmakers Fuse. I have
Robin Pabello.
Yeah, gotta go louder, I think. She said Robin Pabello. I can't hear you.
Oh, maybe that's okay.
Okay. Well, anyhow, so she's here. To call in, because I want to get started. To call in, it's 818-602-4929. Again, that's 818-602-4929. I'm really excited because they're back.
Yay.
Because we couldn't really go into it because we got into everything else, which is amazing. Just a recap on the Women's March, your documentary, which we'll get into the announcement. I'm going to let you do that, okay? I'm going to, first of all, let each of you introduce yourselves, okay? So we'll start with you.
I am Joseph. I am the camera guy, I guess, producer, editor / sounding board /
Jack of all trades, Joe of all trades.
Well, I've kind of just helped Diane do the things that she has envisioned, I guess. Like yesterday, we had a really interesting scene, and she was just like, "No, it's just not funny." I'm like, "Well, how do we make it funny?" And then she came up with an idea, and then what we did was absolutely ridiculous. So and that's her background, is kind of looking at it and chopping it up. And I don't see it always right away, but I'm like, it's not right. Like, it's supposed to be funny, but just opening the closet isn't funny. But what she did was like, oh, wow. And that's like her years of experience, where it's like, that's great. So I guess that's what I'm able to do, is put to life what she says. So that's awesome. That's where I'm at.
We're going to get to you because I want to save you for last for a reason. Hannah, please.
Hi, I'm Hannah Sussman, and I am Diane's producer, personal assistant. I'm her girl.
Yeah.
I'm her girl. I want to just piggyback on what Joe said. Diane has an ability, because of her comedy background, to make you feel like you're a fly on the wall, and you see the things that nobody is supposed to see, and that's what we filmed yesterday, and that's what was funny. Like, we were going to do a simple reveal of what it's like to have Diane in her closet, but Diane made it funny, and that's what was terrific.
Excellent. And now,
Diane Burroughs, the founder of the website leftat50.com, and an executive producer, showrunner for over 3 decades of various and sundry network sitcoms, and a blogger, a writer, and a lady who did a documentary called "This Is What Democracy Looks Like," which was covering both of the women's marches, but she had no idea she was making a documentary when she decided to go there. So it's a variety of journeys.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And so you're back because we left off and it was kind of like wanting more. It was now I want to know more, and I think what we're going to have to do is a seminar just to discuss your background in television, because I think that's very educational for women that want to get into that. But that's a whole different beast.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole different beast. But before we do that, Hannah, can you please make the announcement?
Yes. This Is What Democracy Looks Like has been awarded the Golden Award from the Royal Wolf Film Awards.
Awesome. Congratulations.
And it was really cool.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was exciting.
That's great. And you have a part 2 coming up, correct? No, I'm sorry. You did the part 2 in the one. And then, but you're going back, you've gone back again.
Yes, we went this year to the March on Washington, and we're in the process of editing that march and what happened as a result of that. And of course, every day new things are happening.
Right.
But yeah, we are editing that together. So
Excellent.
We're excited.
So we'll get into that maybe next year.
Yeah.
But let's go back to where we left off last time, okay? Because you blew my mind. So you started basically, a platform for women, not just women, but for anyone that's gone through a hardship with a divorce and whatnot. And that's why you came up with the clever title, which is basically personal to yourself. But in doing so, you found that it's therapeutic for you, but it ended up being therapeutic for many others. Correct?
So much so.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're left at 50, which is what happened to me, my partner of 25 years walked out I was 50, which is a weird age to be for many variety of reasons, no matter who you are. But he was my professional writing partner and, of course, the person I shared my life with. And so it was a very big blow. And I just decided that because I am a writer, I wanted to share this experience, even though I, at that time, was in a lot of pain. But I knew that I was not the only person that this had happened to. Mm-hmm. And I just really wanted to share my experience in a really honest way, mostly because I searched the whole internet looking for a site like what is now mine. Mm-hmm. And it simply wasn't there because maybe it's the age of 50 thing we're kind of ignored, or I don't know. It was just kind of a shock. So then I thought, well, it's got to be me. What should I call it? Mm-hmm. I was left at 50. How about leftat50.com? And mm-hmm. it was available. And, and then, I called GoDaddy and they helped me set up the whole site, this very kind young man. And his mom had recently been left, and he stayed on the line until everything was functional. Oh, it was late on a Saturday night, and I'm like, "You were the nicest young man." And he's like, "I'm doing this for my mom." Aww. So then I really knew I'd found the right pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. And how have Joe and Hannah been basically essential for Left at 50?
Well, this whole journey has just been a series of magical events that no one could have planned. Serendipity. It's absolutely madness. And, I had moved out of the house, and there were tons of things that had to be done, 25 years of things that needed to be shredded. I went through like 6 shredders, and I was shedding tears and shredding papers alone.
So tissue and shredding, the combination is what it sounds like it was.
Yeah, I was in this big house that our success had built, shredding everything and weeping.
Yeah.
And then I did sell that big house, and I'm like, I need help. I need someone to help me. Like, it's not good for me to be doing all of this alone. And so I put out an ad, and the first person who answered was Hannah. And wouldn't you know that Hannah was on her own journey at around the same age at the same time. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was a different Left at 50. I left my marriage of 27 years.
Okay.
And so we got a chance to unite, and it was such an interesting meeting because we were talking, and she said, I think we could be good partners. And I'm thinking, I just want a job.
I just met you, lady. Hold on.
And so when she was telling me what she was doing, I'm thinking, well, I got to have Joe, because I knew Joe. And Joe is this incredible creative man, but he is a mastermind in the social media world. And Diane had this Left at 50 website, but I looked at it and I said, who is Diane Dupree? And she said, well, that's the person I go under. I said, no, you don't. Your name is Diane Burroughs. She said, no, I've got to be Diane Dupree. And she was like adamant. I'm like, no, and I'm telling this to Joe, and Joe's saying, no, you can't be Diane Dupree. And so she revealed the importance of Diane Dupree at that moment because she was raw. And then she made a decision after Joe and I were pushing it. And Joe did something that was so interesting. Diane never looked at the internet to see if there was a Diane Dupree. She just loved the name. It was pretty. It was, it was just
It was the name that she.
Joe,
the name that you would.
Can you speak? Sorry.
Oh, it was the name that you that you said that you
Yeah.
would. Oh, if you were renamed.
Yeah, it was just a name I'd loved for like 20-something years. And I'm just like, well, now I can be Diane Dupree. On the internet, you can be anybody.
And that's who you decided to be, was Diane Dupree for that moment.
For that moment. And
Yeah.
we brought her back, and Diane, when she decided to do that, Joe went on the internet and just for the hell of it looked up Diane Dupree, and this was weird.
Crazy.
Oh,
Crazy.
We found out that a Diane Dupree that day had died.
I'm not kidding.
Now, we can't make this stuff up.
I'm not making it up.
So you were just
Freaked.
taking over this lady's.
The day she decided to go and be Diane Burroughs on Left at 50, and
Uh-huh.
we're like, okay, we're gonna make the change, and I'm like, and you're Diane Burroughs, like this is freaking great, like
This
this
is
holds so much
empowering you.
credibility.
Right.
So we had changed it on the site, and I'm like, Diane Dupree. I wonder if there is even obituary. Diane Dupree dies today, and I'm, oh my god,
Same
like,
day.
I couldn't believe it. I send them that, and they're like, no way.
So this
So
was
it
her birth.
Crazy.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was
It was
Diane's
crazy.
birth, to come out of the closet, so to speak,
Right.
and own her journey, and then share it with everybody. She became very credible. So that
Yeah.
was, and then
That was-
it's all about, and then she had a thing about colors. She was really good with colors, and
Okay.
we just revamped it, redid this. But that was an evolution too. And then she wanted to expand because she found herself saying, I want to be funny. And so she came up with this wonderful little like episodic thing called Diane Does. And basically it was to show her women, okay, I'm going to be the first to do something, and I'm going to encourage you ladies to do something for the first time. And she had fun things like, she went into a yoga phase. So she did like goat yoga and
How was
flying
that?
up yoga. Go ahead and tell
What?
about the goat yoga. Oh my God.
The goat yoga was for Earth Day.
Okay.
It was at a secret location.
It was.
So I paid $25, and then I got
Good
the
deal.
address. And I went there, and it was yoga with goats. And there was crystal type music and
Okay.
to keep the goats calm, and a variety of people and couples and goats wandering around. And then literally you start to do yoga, and while you're doing it, the goats jump on your back.
Yeah, so while you're doing a downward dog, you have a goat on your back.
Did it hurt?
No.
There's a video. It's a Diane Does.
So when you go on the website, click on Diane Does, and you will see all these wonderful little episodes that she has done exploring her trying things for the first time. And she did an up-flying yoga. Oh my God.
Flying yoga. What is?
You're hanging from the ceiling in a pod.
Okay.
And they use gravity to help you stretch further.
Okay.
So you're just sitting in a huge pod or a nest like you're a bird. And you're like 5 or 6 feet off the floor. And again, there's very quiet music. And it's dark in there, so nobody has to be embarrassed. And the amazing thing is, I mean, I'm the stiffest person on earth. I did the most amazing stretches because gravity is helping you, like, open your leg up. But you're in a pod, a stretchy pod.
But but let me tell you something. There are definite humorous moments because she's a spaz.
in the goat yoga, when the goat's getting ready, and she's like, and she's talking just like she's okay, the goat is about to step on me. And she slowly picks the phone up, and there's a goat getting ready. She goes, I'm gonna take a selfie with the goat. And then there's the selfie with the goat. It's the most ridiculous thing.
All of these things that she does they're real, but they're ridiculous, and they're humorous. And she does episodes about makeup, trying to put on those magnet eyelashes. That is hysterical. It doesn't work.
Okay.
It's doing things for the first time that she's never done before.
And
That's
she
the
wants
whole
to
premise
encourage
of
her
stuff.
women base.
And being comedic through it is.
Oh my God,
pretty
the
easy.
spray on tan, what I looked like.
Like you were related to someone in office, maybe?
It was just so bad.
But it was funny.
It was really fun.
How
though.
long did it last?
It lasted like 7 to 10 days. It lasted.
like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you can't shower right away. That's the thing. You have to sleep and let it set onto your skin, like you're staining your skin, because you are.
Right. That is.
You ever
Yeah.
been on one of those swans at Echo Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did one of those.
Okay.
That was pretty interesting.
Okay.
She always wanted to be on a swan,
Yeah.
so it's like, oh.
Who knew? That
Have
was
you-
her dream.
Have you done the indoor skydiving thing? Like, you know,
No, I haven't done that yet.
because I wouldn't do skydiving, but that looks like fun, and I think they have it at Universal City Walk.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They have
that
that
looks
special
like-
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just blows you off the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to wear
Is
a
that
special
something
suit.
that Diane does maybe? In the near future?
Diane
I don't
can
know. I don't know. I'm putting it out there.
I'm saying.
I'm putting it out there.
I think we should both do it.
Ooh.
Diane and Alexa do.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. This is like, so okay,
Okay.
this has been helpful for many. When did you notice that it's been therapeutic? Not only when did you notice that it was therapeutic for yourself, and then when did you notice that it was therapeutic for other people?
Well, you know, there was a period of time where I was just sad. I was just really sad.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I just thought I have to, like, there's a reason that this happened to me, right? I have to get out of, like, victim mode and empower myself. And, you know, that takes a little bit of time. And so I just decided, you know, there were so many things when I was with the ex that I always wanted to do that there was no way he was ever going to do because, you know, I don't know, let's say he's afraid of heights and stuff like that,
Right.
you know.
Or goats.
Or goats, understandable. Well, he was allergic to, like, all animals, so
Okay.
it's true.
Okay.
Dogs, cats, horses, like anything, he's allergic. So, no pets, you know, so I immediately got a dog.
Aw.
And so then I just started thinking, well, there's nothing stopping me. And, you know, if I'm going to do this, I may as well try to film it. You know, I mean, I'm a TV producer. I've edited thousands of hours of television. I've got this phone thing. Let's see what happens.
Right.
And so the up-flying yoga was one of the first things I did, and because it seemed safe to me. And because, like you say, you don't like want to go out and, you know, break your hip
Right.
jumping out of a helicopter, and then
Right.
everyone's like, "I told you, you're too old." So I did that. I loved it, and then I've always really wanted the spray-on tan because I live in Los Angeles, and everyone I see has one, and a lot of blonde, blue-eyed people really, really have the spray-on tan, and I'm like, it's time. It's time for me to try this, you know? There's nobody around to say, no, don't do it, or you're going to look stupid, or whatever it might be. Who cares?
Right.
So that was a really, really fun one, and I'm so glad I did it. I would definitely do it again because it's almost freakish how white your teeth look and the whites of your eyes. I came out looking like an alien. So, you know, and then it like has to set in. You got to take a bunch of showers. You got to use sheets you don't care about. I mean, it's way more than they reveal
Okay.
when you go in there. And
Okay.
and so I'm like, I just wanted to show the real deal.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And so that's when you noticed it was making you feel better. And
Yes.
when did people start extending out to you that it was helping them?
Oh man, all the time. And especially there was a lot of Facebook engagement, and you know, now I'm on Insta and Pinterest and everywhere else, but you know, back then it was just people, especially women of a certain age, who were like telling me that I was inspiring them because they say, I haven't been doing anything. All I do is go see my grandchildren, go out for Easter brunch with my family. I haven't built a life of my own, and you're helping me by just showing me how easy it is and that it's not that big of a deal, because in your mind, it's a really huge deal. Like, what am I going to go and do by myself? You know, and I've been going to see movies by myself, and I hated it.
Before.
Yeah.
But now you enjoy it because it's liberating.
Totally. No, it's absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But I learned certain things like, don't go Saturday night. It's all couples. Do you need to be reminded that you're by yourself? Now I don't care.
Yeah,
Now I can go to
exactly.
any movie anytime. But at the time, you know, I remember shedding some tears. I remember walking out of some movies, going, I can't be here. Everyone has their arm around their wife, or they're holding your jacket. Like a million. It was really those little things, those little moments that I felt like, well, I'll never be going to a movie with anybody.
She
again.
breaks it down. In her blog, she talks about the little things to be aware of, so that when someone is just starting in the process, that she takes them through the step-by-step so that they don't feel like they're weird or that they shouldn't feel strange. She helps them with their mindset so that they don't stay thinking that they're a victim or thinking that they're oppressed. And I feel that because of her monologues, they're like monologues, but her blogs encourage women to get out of the mindset, because I don't think that people recognize, and she does, that you have to make the decision of your perspective.
Correct.
It's no longer your partner's perspective that's going to be validating or defining you anymore. You get to define yourself. And so she does
And
that.
you know, there are really high highs and low lows. Like I remember right after he left, like 4 hours later, I put on music that I love, that he wasn't crazy about. I blasted it, and I danced around the whole entire house. Like my arms were going, and I was just dancing and dancing like it was crazy. But I was like, I was euphoric that I had just been left 4 hours earlier. And it's because I had been living under a cloud. And the cloud just walked out the door. So yeah, I cried for like 2 hours, but then all of a sudden it was like a euphoria came over me, like this whole house, you know, needs to be, I need to burn, you know, sage in every corner of this house, and open all the windows and let all this energy out and let it be my energy that's filling this house. And I can look back now and know that that's what I was doing. I didn't have that necessary thought at the moment.
Right.
But I did. It was a 3-story house, and I did go up and down and dance on every single floor. I also just stopped shaving. It's like, have armpit hair. Who cares? No one's, is anyone going to say anything to me?
Right.
You know, stopped shaving for, you know, a couple months, loved it. Who cares? Let everything go. That's how it was meant to be. There's no one here to criticize me.
You were embracing yourself again.
I ate oatmeal in the bathtub because I can.
Yeah, why not?
Who cares?
I eat dessert first. If you're gonna,
Right.
you do what you want to do.
Right. So I just want to stress for anyone who's out there listening, you know, who may have just recently experienced this or is going through a breakup or a loss of any kind, that it's not just all, you know, tears and why me's and I hate him and I'm never going to get over this. But there definitely is that. But there definitely is a freedom that comes with not having to run everything by someone and not having to have someone avoiding eye contact and you just knowing we're not a couple anymore. We're just two people living under the same roof. And that's really sad.
Wow.
That's not a life.
No.
The other area that she embraced was her age and what comes with it, like menopause. And what she did, because she's funny, is that she started another episodic
Joe's face.
and it's called Metaplausible. So Metaplausible are little episodes, tiny episodes of true events.
Everything really happened.
Like her putting a plant in the refrigerator and opening the refrigerator door and saying and laughing because there it is, or going grocery shopping and buying her favorite cereal Cheerios and opening up the cabinet and there are 4 boxes already there. So she shows that and talk about embracing where you are. She totally makes fun of it.
That's great. Now, I feel like you have to do a reenactment of the dance. 'Cause now I'm kind of picturing it. Joe, you have to put the cameras everywhere. You have to capture it. You're sitting there just like, okay, she's going downstairs now. Camera 2, ready, go.
It's something else is these middle plausible moments. The first time I even knew about it, I didn't know. She told me about it. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's get the domain, do all that stuff. Okay, we got that stuff. And then she sends me over the video clip that's edited. And I'm like, what is this? What is it? Middle plausible? What is this even? I'm like, oh my God. And it's so funny because she's looking all over the place for her damn sunglasses. And then she walks past the TV, the reflection in the TV a little bit. She's like, puts them down and just walks out. And I'm like, I mean, I've done that. But wait a minute, what's wrong with me? Nothing wrong. And then the series of them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can imagine. And then she's telling me more about it. They make sense. And then all of a sudden, all of these, she's like, oh my God, this is what happened. It's totally a mental plausible moment. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. Like, what was the one with the cooking? The one we just watched, or the one with the egg that we just did.
Oh, well, she found a special pan
Oh.
that is to fry one egg.
Is it like
I
tiny?
have one of those. They're the best thing.
Is it a tiny pan?
Yes,
Like
yes.
a tiny pan? Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's the way she shoots herself. Like, she puts the camera in these weird angles, and she's squatting, and she's looking up at... Her acting is hilarious. Go ahead, tell me about your acting.
Well, I'm not an actress, so I'm not acting. But I'm not, technically that savvy. I don't have all the equipment. It's just my life. It's not a professional studio.
Right.
So sometimes the iPhone has to be, propped up on the cookie jar
Okay,
against the wall,
okay.
and so it's a weird angles. Because I'm trying to film myself cooking by myself,
Right.
one egg, and
We have a cutaway, a highlight reel of all the times Burroughs is looking at the camera angle wrong, because she's always like, okay, am I recording? Okay, here I am, and she's always looking left, always looking right, always looking sharp. And then she's like, how to look at the camera angle right? Okay, that's wrong. Okay, and there's a whole Diane does how to shoot a video right.
And
so-
I'm doing it wrong the whole time. And it has hundreds of views.
And she's like, okay, am I looking
Hundreds.
okay, is this right? I think that's right. Oh, it's really, really funny, because how many
amazing.
times you see people do videos and they're like, so I'm here, and they're looking here, and they're trying to obviously,
Right.
people you just look right at that camera.
It's
but
just, it's relatable, and it's a big problem that I
a
have.
lot, and a lot of people that are over the age of 50 are not like, oh yeah, and they're just
I don't
shooting a
know where
video.
to look.
But like to look right at the camera makes a huge difference.
Right.
It's
I
simple.
think I love that stuff. My parents, when they got onto Facebook, they didn't really understand it as much. Not that they understand it more now, but
Yeah, they do.
they get it more. But I think it was funny that the cutest thing that they would both do. Mainly, my mom would do it, and it took her a minute to get on Facebook, because for a while she was using my dad's, because she refused to go on Facebook. But she was.
But tell the reason why.
the negative stuff, I think.
No. She's like, I don't want people knowing what I like and what I don't like, so I'm going to use my husband.
Oh, I thought it was the negative stuff. No. But so she would go, and so if I put something on Facebook, or if I shared a picture or a post, instead of just clicking like, she would go in the comments section and put like.
Type like.
She would literally type
It
like.
was adorable.
And so she would
Aw,
keep
that's
doing that,
something I
and I
would
was
do.
like, okay.
cute.
Yeah. And I was like, Mom, all you have to do is click the thumbs up, and so she was like, oh, okay. And it's like also explaining to her, like, the laughing emoji. Like, it's laughing,
Yep.
it's not sad. So, like, she would be that one when it first started, when Facebook first introduced the emojicons,
tears coming
the
out.
tears coming out. She was like, oh, that's sad. And she put the laughing one. And she's like, well, there's tears. I'm like, they're laughing so hard that they're crying. She's like, oh, remove it, because this is this is a sad moment. It's just like-
People are going to think my husband's laughing.
Right, exactly. Well, she's got her own Facebook now, but it is. I get the whole relatable thing, because that is relatable in that factor, and it is comical, because we do have to laugh. We the tragedies in life make us. Ironically, you go back and think of it, and you start laughing, and it's not that it makes it less sad. It's just like, okay, it makes it more where you can cope with it. It's like, oh, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe I did that. Or, and I'll say it, and I can't believe I'm going to say this right now, but I farted at a funeral one time because I was so nervous.
I'm the one that laughed really loud, and she was like livid at me. I was like, I'm sorry, you fart, I laugh. Like,
Well, I was livid because she laughed loud. And it was
I'm a
here's the
loud
thing is,
laugher.
like, not a lot of people heard me fart. I was so nervous. I get nervous, so I got gassy. And it just... it was the first time me seeing a dead body,
Oh, no.
And so I was super nervous, and I was walking up to the casket, and I was like, I don't think I can do this, and then it just slipped. And I was like, oh my God. She laughed so hard that everyone turned around and looked, because I'm like, why are you laughing at a funeral? And she was like, why are you farting? And I was like, no one heard me. First of all, like, besides you and my aunt who came, she was like, it's okay. She was like, I know you're nervous. She was like, it's okay. And she looked at Robin. She was like, I don't know about you, because she's like laughing hard, and I'm like,
because I didn't know how to respond to that.
But I'm saying, like, that's a tragic moment.
Yes.
And there's a comedy moment there.
Yeah.
You know,
Big time.
it's like, you know, I go back, and it's a weird thing to go back to a funeral again, but it was my grandmother's funeral, and my mom she was over emotional, and she kept fainting. And I was told there were certain people that were going to speak at the funeral, and I was one of them, and I was told you have literally a minute. So I said, okay. So I rehearsed it and everything, and my mom kept fainting. And so I was going to say, my mom just took some of my minutes, like a part of my minute, you know, just to like lighten the mood. But I didn't say that. I said it afterwards, and everyone laughed afterwards. But I thought it was interesting because I was so nervous. I did my minute and everything else. And then other families came, and they were talking forever. And I was sitting there going like, what is it? And then they embraced each other, and it was so awkward because I was like the only one standing there going like, I'm not getting, I'm going to walk away, and it's going to look heartless, but it's not. I'm just walking away because there's a moment here, and I'm the odd man out. And all I'm thinking is like, I could have had more than a minute if my mom didn't faint, you know, right before I walked up. Like, this is all that's happening, you know,
Right.
and it's like, so that's the things that happen. And later that day is like when I told my family members that, and they all were laughing. They're like, you should have said that. And I was like, I was nervous too, because I felt like people would thought it was disrespectful. And they're like, no, because that was her personality. She would have thought you were funny, you know, like that was it. But in the tragic moments, where, like you said, you weren't aware that you were doing something, like you weren't aware that you were doing the sage and cleansing yourself. It isn't until moments later, or it could be days or years later, that you're like, oh, that's what that was. And then that's what you develop, and not knowing that it was for you, it ended up being for a platform for many. And that's what's amazing about it. And that's why I wanted you to come back, because we couldn't finish that conversation. Because like you came here, and I was just like, because I saw your documentary. It's great. I encourage everyone to watch it. It's a great documentary, and I can't wait to see more. And I feel like there's going to be a series of them, and that's great. You got to keep doing that. But then when you blew my mind and you presented me with this Left at 50, and I was like, hold up. It was like the record scratch. You know, I was like, wait a minute. Where did this come from? You know, we went into it because we talked about, you know, mourning someone that's still alive. And a lot of people don't understand that that's a real thing. And sometimes it sucks when you're trying to mourn someone that won't leave. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a very, very real thing. Oh, yes. It's a, you know, in order for you to be able to better yourself and move on, you have to go through those stages.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go through all the stages so that then you can be like, okay, now I'm ready. Now I can be who I really always was and wasn't able to. And that's what you've done.
Right, because there's a million steps.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, your emotions can change throughout a day with any sort of loss, right? I mean, you can go from being nostalgic to being angry to being sad, to being resentful, which for me was a huge, a lot of resentment, you know, left for a younger woman, bloody blah, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like I committed the sin of aging, you know, oh, what a horrible person I am. But one of the things, you know, that I get from the site is that it's not just me. Like, I don't have to take this so personally. This is a thing that happens to men and women, and, you know, but when you're in it, it's very difficult, and there are a lot of steps, like with any sort of mourning. But, you know, the hardest one for me was, you know, the photo albums, which people won't have now because everything's on their phone.
Right.
But there's videotapes and photo albums and pictures blown up in nice frames, and, you know, I had to put all of those face down in a box, and they're still, you know, in my closet. And the day I was doing that, I had an assistant helping me, not Hannah, but a young man that I'd been working with, and I was just crying and crying. And I was like, I'm going to go get some coffee. When I came back, he had taken everything and put it in a box that said, pictures you do not want to look at.
Oh.
And it's still there. And it still says that. Now, he was a young man, like 25, 26.
Aw.
And I thought that was the sweetest thing.
Yeah.
So, that's part of it, too. And that's part of what I talk about. Because what do you do? What do you do with it?
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't want it,
That's a good question. I never thought of that. What do you do with stuff like that?
Would you and your new young wife like to look through our photo album? This is when we went to Europe, and there we are in a big ship in the Caribbean.
Yeah, that makes it really difficult. Because you're right. What you don't want to trash it because there's still memories
It's
that
my
made
life.
you
Right.
that made you who you are. But at the same time, you also don't want to. I think it comes down to perspective. You have to change your perspective in the way you look at it.
That's why the blog is so important,
Yeah.
because it's constantly affirming a positive
Mhm.
perspective
Yes.
in a very difficult time.
I think it's a good point that you make with the memories. It's interesting when you start making new memories and then you realize this person's no longer in these memories.
Nope.
And these are new memories that mean so much more to me now. Not because he's not in it, but because of what they represent to me now. Does that make sense? It's like, I could, I had a friend for years and now I have new memories without that friend. And they mean so much more to me. These memories. Mm-hmm. And it's weird going back on memories that are profound, whether they're sad moments, great moments. This person's not there. That says a lot. Mm-hmm. I've moved on. These are my memories. This is my life now. That's that. And that's what I mean. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Very much so. And the great thing is, once you start making these new memories, the first time you go to a New Year's Eve party without any person that people are used to seeing you with for decades, or a birthday party or whatever it is, it's awkward, but I used to show up late and leave early. Okay. That was my tips. Because, when everybody enters, you're afraid someone's going to say something.
Right.
Sometimes people don't know.
Right.
So they're like, where's so-and-so? Oh. And then they're uncomfortable.
Right.
I'm uncomfortable. Oh, they stepped in it. So I used to, if it's helpful to anyone, I that's what I used to do. And now, of course, that's no longer the case. And, because people know, but also just because, I'm a different person. And I literally wear different colors than I used to wear. Mm-hmm. I am so many things have changed. If you look in my closet now, it looks like a rainbow threw up all over my closet. And it used to just look like a bruise. It was literally black clothes and blue clothes and
So
gray
many
clothes.
colors.
Yeah,
Reds
vibrant.
and oranges and yellows and pinks.
That was not me.
It was. It just was buried.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
now
yeah.
all of
And
a
you're
sudden
right,
it's like-
because you just got some pictures, and the pictures from when you were a child, it's like almost identical to what she wears today. But then you look at a period of like 20 years, and that girl she's not there. Because that's the girl that's in every woman. It doesn't matter. There's still that girl.
Yeah, we saw a Pinterest about that she's like the Pinterest queen over here. I mean, really, the numbers
is
that
a
we
Pinterest
have,
queen.
we have like about 60,000 people that per month that visit her platforms.
Wow.
And she is constantly pinning up these wonderful Pinterest quotes, but the girl in you, that's the one that I remember.
yeah.
She's still in there, and there's this girl with her hands spread out, and she's in the sprinklers, and she's happy, and that's what Diane wants to reinforce every woman to remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because when I was a girl, I loved to climb trees, and so I just wanted to remind all my followers that you are still that girl.
So wait, are you climbing trees now?
Where's
that video?
For me, like in the
Joe?
way she says this stuff, I just crack up. She's like, I love to climb trees. Or like she's like, I'm going to grab a sandwich. And just the way she says it to me, I'm just like, it kills me.
Joe, where's that video?
The tree climbing video?
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
No, I love the fact that you have gone back to your roots. because it definitely, relationships do change you because you make compromises.
Which is
know?
not a bad thing.
No, not at all. I don't think it's a bad thing, but when it starts altering who you are as a person too, that's what's lovely, is that you're going back to that and you're embracing it. And you should still be an individual even if you're in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or, if you're in a relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend or whomever, it's just amazing, and I got to bear witness to that this past weekend. Like I was telling you, that's why I was a little bit running late, is like I went to a friend's wedding and they had found each other. They had been kind of like coarsely like living amongst each other the entire time, and then finally went on a date, and then that was it. They just knew, and they were able to lift each other up and still stay as individuals.
So what advice do you have to anyone focus here on, because we're talking about people that are gone through divorce. So what advice do you have when it's the start of that? Because the percentage rate of marriages and whatnot is sadly it's what it is.
Right.
No matter how fairy tale it sounds, it's what it ends up being. It's the sad part. So what advice do you have?
I think the number one thing is self-care. Because I know the worse my relationship got, the more I was doing for him. The more I was trying to take care of the house is perfect or, whatever. I kept trying to go, I know everything that he likes, and if I do these things and I'm a nice person, whatever he's going through, because also you don't always know that you're getting a divorce. It might just be a phase, especially when you're around the age of 50 and you're a man. I mean, we all know about their midlife crises. We hear about it all the time.
Yeah,
not so much about us.
Right, because women go through midlife crisis too. And
Exactly.
people don't know that exists. And it's weird that people don't know how it exists and how some women deal with it and cope with it. Because women go through this whole weird phase where they change completely. And then they're saying like, oh, I'm trying to find myself, type of thing. And it's kind of like, that's great. Maybe you don't know that you're there and you're afraid of who you are. So you're latching onto others or whatever you can because you're trying to fantasize about being that individual. And it's interesting because I find that interesting when there's women that go through that phase where they have that midlife crisis. It's not like men where they just want to regress and go back to being younger and finding someone younger.
No.
With women, it's more like trying to figure out who they are. So they'll compare themselves with other people. Like, oh, look how they are with that person, or look how they are with this, or I could be that, and I see a little bit of my and so they start, instead of finding themselves, they find other people and pinpoint what they wish they had of that other person. So they're not helping themselves. They're actually making things worse. So it's interesting because the midlife crisis can affect both parties. And so if the man is still around and he's not going through it or has gone through it, and the woman's going through the midlife crisis, he doesn't know how to deal with it.
Or he doesn't want to at all.
Or doesn't want to at all.
Especially if he doesn't love her anymore.
Exactly. This is true. If the love is
like,
not there, time to move on.
I'm out of here. This is not fun anymore.
Backpedal slowly. Yeah, this is awkward. I don't know who you are.
Right. And when you're around the age of 50, you get the double whammy of menopause. So not only is your marriage over and the relationship as you know it, and maybe you move to a different house and you shred a bunch of stuff and your body's changing, and then it's like, wow, I'm in this phase now where my whole body is changed, not just my heart and my emotion, but I'm not the person I used to be. I won't be having those thoughts of being a mom, or I'm going to go into this next phase, and I'm going to do it by myself.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys met my mother at the festival, right? She was volunteering with me at the table.
Yes.
She also went through a very surprise divorce as well, and it was hard because my brother and I were adults witnessing it, and she, just like everything else in her life, she just seemed to take it so gracefully, and I kind of was like, it's okay if you're hurt.
Yeah, I know.
And so, what?
So, just being there, Alexa and I at the time were living in Lakewood, and we asked our other roommate to move out so I could take my mom in, because my dad was like, oh, you got to go. And I was just like, okay, sure, all right. And so thankfully, like, we both took her in, and we kind of, like, I think we lived with my mom for like 2 years, I think, something like that. And so we kind of just helped her kind of progress. And, you know, she kind of like would tell me, like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you just need to find yourself and make more friends.
And
of
that question of I don't know
rekindling.
what to do is very common, and
Yes.
that's why it's like
You don't know
now
what
you
to
get
do.
to go to Left at 50
Yeah.
and get the community to help you with
You're not
your, I
alone.
don't know what
And
to
that's
do.
what I still need to emphasize that with her too, is that
Yeah.
she's still, you know, like, unfortunately, like, she's still in contact with my dad because of us, which it you know,
It's a
like,
real thing.
it is, you know, and I feel bad because it's kind of like you have to have that conversation too. So it's kind of like her perspective has now shifted from like this hurt to this, okay, you're here, that's fine.
That's huge.
Yeah, we have
I'm
to.
happy for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a long time, you know, but it's still something that I see in her that I want more for her, because I know that her life isn't over. It's just beginning.
Exactly. And, you know, one of the other reasons, you know, for the site and kind of representing those ladies is to talk with a like-minded woman around your age who has been through the exact same thing. You can be very honest about a whole bunch of stuff that you might not tell your kids about.
Yeah, and that's what I want. So
Yeah, that's what, it's a great platform for other women, you know, that are going through the same thing. And I think it's something that needs to be done on a referral basis as well. Because if you haven't heard of it, which I'm surprised if you haven't, then hopefully someone else that has could tell others about it. And that's why I'm glad you came back, so that this could also be sort of that referral as well. Because it is interesting that I remember when I was going to junior high, and they were talking about your body changes, right? Be prepared. You're going to go through, you're going to become a woman. Then they briefly touch on, oh, by the way, at this point in time, between these ages, there's going to be a thing called menopause. You can't have kids. That's how they explained it. And it was kind of like, okay, so I can get pregnant from now until that age. Got it. You know, so that's how it was explained to us.
Right.
They didn't go into the hot flashes. They didn't go into the moments of depression. There's a lot that goes into it that they don't talk about at all. And it blows my mind, because if we were more prepared, if we prepare the next generation of this is what you can be expected to go through, you know, also, by the way, this is what menopause is like as well when you get there. Because they don't tell us that. Literally, in junior high, I'll never forget, that was the explanation of it. This age, that's when you stop having kids and you can't have kids no more. Stops working, you don't bleed anymore. And I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. You know, and I'm that note taker. No more bleeding. You know, it's just like...
Well, I also heard in those classrooms this, and then you get married. And there wasn't any conversation about what happens or possibilities of divorce, because nobody wanted to talk about
That's
it.
true.
And so now, and then they get married, and then sometimes, and then...
Right.
And we talked about this last time we were here. You said that in your culture, or you had witnessed women that said, well, that's it. I
That's
don't get
it.
a second chance.
That's it. Yep.
And in Left at 50, this is the beginning, yet another beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's generational, because that's
It is
my mom.
generational.
You're referring to
Yeah.
your mother.
Yeah.
It is.
And I think the women now know and are actively seeking, like, okay, great, I can move on and upwards.
Yeah.
It's not the end.
It's not. I mean, it's funny because I remember, because I'm 42, so I remember hearing and laughing, giggling if someone said, "Oh, my grandmother's dating." I'm like, you know, that was my reaction.
Grandmas don't date. No.
Grandma doesn't date; she knits. What are you talking about? You know, dating? That's weird. So you know, that's cute. That's what you call your grandpa? And they're like, no, they divorced. Grandma's dating now. But now you hear it, and it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. You know, so it's like, it's really interesting. And I've noticed that, like, how time has changed, where before I would giggle, and now I see other people just reacting to it like, oh yeah, that's my grandmother's boyfriend. And I think it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I see everyone's natural reaction to it. And then I remember how back when I was younger, when I was told no more bleeding, I would giggle at grandma dating, you know.
Yeah,
so
no,
it is.
sure.
The time has changed and
I
it's
think you're
evolved.
right about
you know,
time changing, because if you think about that, that being alone as a grandma or a grandpa, you hear about them dating. Really, let's go back even 15, 20 years ago, you wouldn't hear it, one, because usually, you know, not stereotyping, but it usually would be the man leaving the woman, and
Right.
the woman would be alone, and then
Right.
that would be it. And she might find some guy maybe 10 years down the road, or who knows.
Right.
But to think about just the fact of being alone, nobody, like, just period, like, for that to be standard, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because what you said about giggling, I said, yeah, that's about right, but that's so wrong.
Yep.
It's so backwards, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But you're right. It's great that times are changing, and
Yeah.
so now that giggle factor is kind of, well, it's not so laughable anymore.
No, it's not.
Because who wants to be freaking alone? Nobody.
No one.
Doesn't
I mean,
matter.
unless you want to.
Well, there are some loners.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. So the demographics that I've talked to, like on set,
Uh-huh.
because there's, you know, girls and women that are like 24 to like, you know, 60s. And so I've noticed the discussion has been, most of them, the younger ones, are just like, I'm okay to be alone. Like,
Yep.
so,
I'm
so
one
that's
of
what I
those
think is
that
interesting.
I like
Yep.
being single. I enjoy it, and I said it last time. Like, if I were to meet that person that changes everything, then I'd be like, holy hell, where did you come from? Like that, and that would mean a lot. It would have more meaning to it because I'm not
course.
looking for it.
Right.
You know, and that's what's interesting, is because I've noticed a lot, and men too, where we just like the single, because it just, the ratio of divorce, the whole like, let's get married, like make it a fairy tale, and then like a year or two later it's like it doesn't work out, because that's sadly what it is now. It's a thing of convenience, a thing of like, the wedding industry is insane how much money people go into. Like, it's like, why?
Right.
It's flour and water and egg. Why is the cake
That's like holidays, though, too.
25?
Yeah, but
It's capitalism.
It's ridiculous, but
Unfortunately.
it's
I love it.
ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
the photography of it, and the
Don't knock
then-
photography. Joe?
But you get it though. I'm like,
Oh, you do.
you
You do.
get what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely,
I'm looking at these things. I'm thinking, what trailer is this? That's a cute, like, you know, date movie. Oh, it's a rom-com. No, it's a wedding.
Oh yeah.
Okay. No, what? It's
a
a music
full-
video. Oh, okay.
Full production.
And I get it. And it's like, and then later it's kind of like, can you take that video down, please, because we're not together anymore?
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
kind of like,
could-
oh.
But
Oh.
that's
That's
the,
right.
that's
Oh.
listen. That is the investment of having that hopeless romantic cynicism, and I think
romance is wonderful.
Exactly.
No, romance is wonderful.
that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying, like, it can be wonderful without the dollars. You
I
know what I'm
don't
saying?
know.
Like, I'm just saying.
I don't
It
know.
could be. It could be. Like, you,
I like
I'm
those
saying.
dollars.
Yeah, I think you're being
totally
biased.
hear
You get what
you're
I'm saying?
Because
Like-
what you're saying, I totally hear you, because I'll tell you what, you do meet the guy that makes you go, whoa, holy moly, right? Cannolis.
Yeah,
And
I'm
he
going to
wants
save
to-
money
and
because
he
I have
wants
my
to-
family that
and
will have
he wants to have a
iPhones.
wedding for you. Now that changes your whole perspective.
Yes,
But what you're
exactly.
saying is that your perspective is
It will
not saying that
change.
No.
I need this, or this is, I need the dollars to say that that's what that is. And that's the whole point of what you're
Correct.
saying.
And my thing is, too, because of where I'm at in age, if I do get married, it would be literally probably my parents, and very small thing. I'm not going to make a production of it.
But
if
you
I were
don't
to do
know.
it.
You
It-
don't-
it's
that's
like
the- you
my
don't
best
know.
friend
That's
is getting
you.
married in October, and I'm her maid of honor. She's doing a small thing, and she's planning maybe doing a destination wedding because it's going to be that small. So it's one of those things where, like, yeah, it's time has changed, because we noticed, like, before, like, I think it's starting to evolve. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Tell me where
Deflect,
the website.
deflect.
Tell me where the because I got the note. We
I
got to
get
get
it.
the
I love
times
it.
wrapped up.
Oh, okay. It's leftat50.com, but I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest, and then the documentary is biggestmarchever.com.
Perfect.
And it's called This Is What Democracy Looks Like.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
It's
You
so
know,
wonderful.
come back next year when that documentary is back, part 2. Okay,
We-
and then we're gonna discuss a seminar to discuss your television part. So thank you.
Thank you.
Diane,
Thank you, Alexa,
Hannah,
so much.
Joe, thank you again.
Yes.
It was great
Wonderful
having
seeing
you.
you, Robin.
Yes, likewise.
Everyone have a happy and safe Sunday.
Thank you.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.